are they so difficult to break down? If you were playing up against them, what is it that makes them so tricky?
Ngolo Kante. By the way, the thing is obviously the experience of Thiago Silva as well, Rudiger.
See, right, you played in a defence. Adams, Bowl, Dixon, Keown. Experience counts for so much. You can have younger players, more mobile players, but when you've got guys who are used to playing alongside each other, guys who've been in tough moments before, that does. I mean, you up front with Bergkamp and you had all your creative midfielders and whatever else, but those guys being able to work the linesmen, work as a unit, that makes a difference, I think.
It makes a massive difference. Even Aspilicueta being brought back in, we've seen him use Alonso every now and then, but I'm not saying for his defensive skills, but you look at Christensen's improved, Kurt Zuma's improved, and obviously Thiago Silva's experience. Then in front of them, you've got him using Kante in a way that you know that he can be used. We saw with Sarri, he played him out of position more on the right-hand side going forward. And we know that his best position for me is blotting out all that danger, and then springing attacks, because people for some reason underestimate his ability to progress the ball quickly to the guys that can do what they do. So defensively, they're very sound, but now he's also got someone in Kante who can do all that work where he stops the opposing team and then bam, gets it into the Mason Mounts, gets it into those guys, and then they're straight into opposing teams. So I think that, like Darren said, starting from a sound defensive basis, can't not mention the goalkeeper, Edouard Mendy, simply because the confidence he gives them is something that they're building everything on. So defence, then in front of the defence, the two holding midfielders, the pivots. And now the forwards now, like I said, if they can just go forward now, get that striker, because it doesn't look like it's going to be Tammy, it doesn't look like it's going to be Giroud, to finish off, then they are really going to cause problems, because they're so dangerous, they move the ball so quickly, and they've got everything in their team.
Yeah, I want to come back to Timo Werner and whether or not his second season might be different for him, whether you think that's the case. But just to stay on the point about Kante that you made, I think one of the really good quotes I read in terms of the analysis of the game was that Kante looks like he's everywhere. He isn't. He just knows where to be. So he's always in the right place at the right time.
He's a joke. He's seriously, he's a joke. You were watching Chelsea last night. Both the goals have come from him. You know, breaking play up and then slipping someone else in. And people touched on it, they didn't believe he could do that. Well, I think he's proved he can do all that now. He's in the right position because he's cute enough to be in the right position. Because he's a top player. And I don't think he's given the credit that he should be given. You know, I think in his first game against Real, he was man of the match. And for me, last season, I thought he was man of the match as well. I know they're going to talk about Mount and players like that, but I thought Kante last night, top draw.
Is it? I wonder if one of the reasons that he might be less celebrated than he could be is because he is such a quiet character. He doesn't seem like somebody who seeks the like. No. But it's sometimes that he doesn't seem to want to attract attention to himself. It isn't something he looks for.
Yeah, I think he's an individual outside looking in. He just wants to play football and do the best he can do for his team. He's not into the razzmatazz, whereby in the modern day game, you know, everyone seems to be into the razzmatazz, but you look at him, he puts his performances on the football pitch, and the first goal, if you look, he didn't even celebrate. He set it up. You know, he's just gone 1-0 up in the Champions League semi-final. He's not celebrating. He knows, the game's just getting started.
Yeah, I think it's almost as though his role in that Leicester side was more celebrated than it is in the Chelsea side, even though they've consistently been I know Leicester won the league, but they've consistently been at a higher level.
Yeah, I think the reason for that is because he wasn't surrounded by as many quality players as he is in a Chelsea team. So it was easier for him to stand out in that side. But I think you're right, the guy's right. He's so selfless in the way that he goes about his business, covers so much ground. But the positioning, as you say, is all important because he is in the right place at the right time on many occasions. The background to him is that Chelsea actually rejected him initially because they out in that side. But I think you're right, the guy's right. He's so selfless in the way that he goes about his business, covers so much ground. But the positioning, as you say, is all important because he is in the right place at the right time on many occasions. The background is that Chelsea actually rejected him initially because they felt he was too small. So he ended up going from Cannes to Leicester for around about £5 million, which was a bargain in today's time. And they obviously ended up buying him back. Chelsea do that quite often for quite a lot of money. when he goes to Chelsea, suddenly he is this guy that everyone sees as the new Claude Makelele, if you like. But then, as Wright was saying, Sarri starts playing him in this right-sided position as more attack-minded, and Lampard did it for a time as well. But he's at his best. You could actually argue he is box-to-box, but he's at his best when he's protecting that back four. And I think he showed that last night. He is unparalleled in doing that, in performing that role. And I think he's got a lot of years to come in him as well, because he's very intelligent in the way he plays his game as well. And I think because of that, because of the lifestyle he doesn't lead, if you like, I think he will look after himself to be a real fixture in the Chelsea side for a few years to come.
Yeah, and it looks as though it's a Chelsea side that's set up for success. And it's interesting that it is one of the more experienced players in Kante who's kind of controlling that when there is so much young and promising talent in there, the likes of which we've seen